How y'all doing out there in YouTube land? This Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. Well, today, welcome to the inner circle of the Deadbolt folder. But anyway, I just want to show you guys my love for deadbolts. I love deadbolts. I've loved them ever since they've come out. I've been using them and collecting them and everything and carrying them since they've come out. And I absolutely love this new one. The new one, it rocks. It just rocks. It rocks. But we need to find out some things about it. You know, since I made the video on it, I've been getting a lot of questions about it. You know, can it be de-assisted? You know, I don't know. I know it has this one spring right here that operates the mechanism for the assist. And from the pictures I've seen, it looks like you could just take that spring out and it would be de-assisted. But, you know, and the light would still function. I'm not sure though, because this doesn't have an adjustable detent. So I'm not sure how this one works. It's different. All these have a adjustable detent. For example, the adjustable detent on this one's right here. This little screw T6 screw hole right there. That's how you adjust the detent. And that's the seismic. It's the McLaughlin Clever Girl. The detent adjustment's right there, right inside the G10 handle. And on the aux trask, detent's right there. Detent adjustment. So that's what makes this one different from all the others so far that I've noticed. Other than it being an assisted knife. So it's actually a little bit different than the rest of them. Interesting. I think that's a little bit interesting. I love the way it functions. Yes, I've been playing with it and it's loosened up a little bit and it's like, it rocks. So if you can't de-assist this one, I'm okay with that. I don't mind closing it like this. I'm still doing it one hand with my hands out the way of the path of the blade. My hand never gets in the path of the blade. That makes it a really safe knife. It's a lot safer than, you know, operating like a liner lock or a frame lock, where you have to put your thumb over the path of the blade, or even like a triad lock or any kind of lockback knife. So it's got a little advantage over that, but it's not as fast as like the manual ones. This one hasn't been used in a long time. Let me get one of this. Been used a little bit more lately. Okay. But you can't do this with that one. That would be like the difference between a manual lock deadbolt and the new assisted. And that bit of a difference is not a bit of enough difference to make me not like this knife. I absolutely love this knife. I like the thickness of the blade. It's comparable to like the size and the thickness of the blade. You know, a Cold Steel Recon 1 has a 3.5mm blade. That's what this has. 4-inch blade. That's what this has. Tonto blade. The Tonto version that I like. That's what this has. This one doesn't have a G10 handle. It has an aluminum handle. These are aluminum handle scales with a stainless steel liner with barrel spacers. Open back construction. I love it. It's a heavy duty knife with open back construction. I love it. It's a beautiful knife. And I've been messing with it all night. And the only thing that came loose on it was this piece right here. It came loose where it screwed off. And I had to put it back on. But the blade stayed straight. You know, stayed fairly centered and stuff like that. And so it held up for, you know, a night of fidgeting. Absolutely love it. It just felt like it kept getting faster and faster. And I'm going to make it even faster because I'm going to lube it up. Let's take it apart and see what we got. Absolutely love it so far though. I love everything about it. I love the way it feels. We need a T6 and T8. Oh, that feels like a T8. Okay, there we go. Absolutely love this knife. These back ones are T8s also. The front one's a T6. I'm going to spring load it right now. Let me release the spring. Okay. Now there it goes. Try not to lose the screws. Basically, that's aluminum. The spring rides inside of here. Oh, the screws fell out anyway. Okay, might as well take them out. I can show you guys better. The spring rides inside of here. Looks like billet aluminum, like 6061 billet aluminum to me. It's got a nice thickness to the scale. Probably helps add strength to the whole knife, to the structure of the knife. Oh, I'm noticing something, people. I bet you this spring is the detent. I think the spring's the detent also. Here's what the spring looks like. Looks like a snake, huh? Okay, let's put it back together without the spring in it. Let's see. That's the deadbolt. Let's slide in there. That's what this piece screws into. It screws into the deadbolt. Put the spring in it. Okay, there we go. Okay, now put the rear screws in. I only need to put in like one screw because we're just trying to see if it'll work without the spring in it. I still want to take it all the way apart and lube it up, clean it up, take a look at it, see how it's constructed. Put the T6 in the front, the little screw that's in the front. I don't know if it makes a difference or not. I'm just going to put it in. Let's put this other screw in too. So it'd be like it was totally assembled without the spring in it. Okay, so the only thing that we're missing now is spring. Well, it closes really nice. Definitely drop shuts. Push the button in. No detent. So my guess is that the spring is part of the detent. Other than that, no blade wobble up and down, and nothing side to side. Feels like a fixed blade. I love this knife, people. And for those of you that don't like it, may not like it because it's assisted, you're missing out. This is a nice one. I don't like assisted knives either. I'm not an assisted knife person. But this one I like. I absolutely like it. Because, you know, like with a Deadbolt-Lock, like you saw me on this one earlier, this one hasn't been used. It's been just sitting in the drawer for a long time. There it goes. This used to be the fastest one. It just needs somebody to play with it. But lots of times on Deadbolt-Locks, especially when they're new, when you first go to open them, lots of times you'll fail. I'm trying to make, let me see, let me grab one that's hardly ever been used, like this one. See how that one failed right there? With the assist, it pushes it. And so it doesn't fail. It gives it that extra little bit of oomph, so you don't fail it on accident. Well, this one's not failing now. There it goes again. The Deadbolt-Lock is a little bit different from all the other types of locks that are like fidgety type locks. The Deadbolt-Lock is not what I would call a fidgety lock. The Deadbolt-Lock is meant for heavy duty use. I mean, it's like a triad lock. That's a little bit more fun to use than a triad lock, but it's still pretty much like a triad lock where it's not a fidgety type of lock. The reason why you get a Deadbolt-Lock knife is because you want a knife that has a locking system that you feel like you can, depend on it with your life. That's the reason why you buy a Deadbolt-Lock or a triad lock knife. That's the reason why I buy them. I don't buy them just because it's the hottest thing going or whatever. I buy them because these are knives I trust. It doesn't matter if it has a flipper or not. It's a trustworthy knife anyway. The Deadbolt-Lock is the only lock I've ever seen really compete with a triad lock. You know, in the old weight hang test that Andrew Demko used to do. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen those, but if not, go back and check out the Andrew Demko weight hang test with the Deadbolt-Lock against. I think it went up against the SR1, and the SR1 beat it, but the Deadbolt lasted until like 598 pounds or something. I've never seen any other knife type or any other knife lock type. Even most triad locks don't last that long. But it went up against the SR1. And the way that you make a triad lock stronger is by making the blade thickness thicker, and the lock bar thicker. That's what adds strength to the pivot pins and everything. I mean the stop pins and everything. That's what Andrew Demko has said himself. I've heard him say that. And that's the way you make the knife stronger. So you put up a 5mm or 4.8mm, whatever it is, SR1 against a 3.8mm Clever Girl. It was the Clever Girl that went up against, and it should be stronger because it's got the super thick blade stock, and plus it's got the metal liners. The SR1. So they used one of their best knives. That's what I'm trying to say. Cold Steel used one of their best knives. They didn't use like a regular Recon or a regular Voyager or something like that. They used the SR1. The SR1 is a tank. A lot of people don't know that. The SR1 is one of the strongest cold steel knives that there is. And so that's what they put up against. That's what they put up against this knife, the Clever Girl. That doesn't have a 5mm blade shank or blade thickness. That one did the same thing, what I was just talking about. I absolutely love this knife. This knife feels like a combat knife. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like a knife that I'd want to take with me if I was going into combat somewhere. It feels like a knife that it's not going to let you down. This knife's not going to fold back on your hand. In order for this knife to fold back on your hand, it has to basically break. The knife tang and or the what do you call it, the deadbolt has to actually shear or break. That would take a lot of force. And if you're doing that much force, you shouldn't be using a folding knife. But it's a beautiful knife. It's a beautiful knife lock. I love the Flavio Kuma knife. Okay. Well, anyway, let's get back to what we're doing. I'm talking too much. Here we go. So we saw that this doesn't work without the spring. The spring is also the detent. But we also see how drop sheddy it is with the bearing system. That's what it looks like when it doesn't have a detent. And it's got the IKBS Flavio Kuma bearing system in it. All right, let's take it apart. Now first we need to take out the scale. Screw T6. T8 for the rear screws. T8 for the deadbolt. I'm going to leave the screws in it this time. Just set it aside. The spring, deadbolt. There's the deadbolt. I don't know if you guys have seen the deadbolt before. That's what it actually looks like. This piece would have to break in order for the knife blade to fold back in on your hand. And it goes into the knife blade in two different points. This point right here and this point right here. So it's not just one point that it would have to break, it'd have to break both of them. I think it's a really strong design. Okay. Now, in order to undo the pivot, you have to use a flat tip. The pivot screws right back into the liner itself, the stainless steel liner itself. It's got machined out for, so the screw it can be screwed into. Don't need to take off any more right here. Now you can take off the blade. There's the bearings. Looks like the bearing side, the side that has the most exposed part of the bearing, rides against the stainless steel liner, and the cup side of the bearing rides against the blade. So it must fit right inside this groove right here. So I see how it's made. The sides of the bearings are different. Only supposed to fit in one way. Okay, so we set those aside. This is what the liner looks like. Stainless steel liner. It looks like a real strong stainless steel liner. Same thing on this one. And you can see that's aluminum with stainless steel liner. Alright, what we're going to do, we're just going to clean it up and lube it up and put it back together. Basically just want to see how it works. And I always like the lube knives that I actually use. I actually like to put a little grease on the pivots and stuff like that. Grease lasts longer than oil does. Alright. Yeah, you can see where the bearing has been riding. Yeah. Now the axis lock is a strong lock too. I think that one held like, was it 380 or 480? It might be 480. And that was the Bedlam. And I can't remember which knife it was going up against. I want to say it was like the Tau War. But I can't remember for sure. But it gave out, I think it might have been 380 pounds, not 480. I can't remember. But that's a strong lock too. To me, anything that will hold over, 200, 250 pounds, I would consider that a strong lock. So when things get up in the 300s and 400s, those are super strong locks. And there's only been a couple of locks that have been able to do that. And that's that I know of, that I've seen actually be tested by Andrew Demko during his weight hang test. And those were the axis locks and the deadbolts. Triad always beat everybody, but the Deadbolt came second for the second, strongest lock, and then came along the axis locks. I love the axis lock too. The axis lock is one of my favorite locks. Okay, let me see, what am I doing here? I'm getting sidetracked. Let's lube things up a little bit. Put a little dab of grease. Doesn't take much. Doesn't take much. Just a little bit. This knife already operated perfectly fine, so I'm not trying to change anything. This knife. These bearings, you have to put what looks like the part that would normally ride against the bearing, it actually goes in the opposite way. So you have like that part of the bearing facing out. Okay. Now it's ready to go back on the knife. Uh-oh. Gotta have the screws in there. You got all three of them? Okay, good to go. We didn't lose anything. Right there. Trying to see where the hole was. Just like that. Now I'm going to put a little bit of grease on this too, on the spring. Just a little bit though. I think I put on this, actually I'll put it on this part. I don't actually, I need to put on a spring. Just a little dab. Because it's going to be rubbing against here probably. So I want it to be able to, if it does rub, to be able to slide. Okay. A little bit of grease on the spring too. Just to keep it lubed and put that through the pivot so it all stays together. Flip it over. Okay, that part's done. Put the rest of the screws in it. We'll be good to go. Really digging this one. I was always hoping that CRKT would do this, and they did it. Right on CRKT, Columbia River Knife and Tool. Got a little blade play right there. Oh, I didn't tighten it up. That's what I didn't do. Okay, we got to take this part apart again. Forgot to tighten up the pivot screw with the screwdriver. You do that before you put the deadbolt on. Now I just go finger tight. Right there. And check it. No side to side. Good to go. Because you still want it to be able to float, freely. Maybe just a touch more. Okay, right down. I'm going to tighten that. And what I'm going to do with this one, because I may have to take it apart again, because I want to see if it'll work without Loctiting the pivot screw. All these other ones I have, except for this one's totally stopped. But these other ones I carry, and I fidgeted with them, and the pivot screw would always come loose. So I want to see if this one's any different because it has the new system in it. I want to see if it makes any kind of a difference. So I'm gonna test it without putting any Loctite on it first. But I won't show you guys that. I'll just tell you. If I have that issue, I'll just tell you. Oh man, I love this knife. I love this knife. Go back in here and tighten up everything. Well, let's just go finger tight. You don't have to torque down things tight. Because always remember, you want to be able to take things apart. So you never want to torque things down too tight. And that you might strip out nuts, strip out things if you torque down things too tight. These are little tiny screws. T6s and T8s. These aren't big heavy duty screws. Not like something on a motorcycle or car or something. Oh man. This knife is awesome. It's gotten even faster. Now I can feel it kicking. Now it's kicking. Oh yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm sorry. For all of you that don't like assisted knives, oh well. This is one tough assisted knife you're gonna miss out on. I love it. This knife is awesome. And there's plenty of other deadbolts that you can get that aren't assisted. So if you have to have something that's not assisted, like this would be similar. If you need something that's real tactical. It's got the V serrations on it. This one's a 4116 blade. Flavio Kuma design. This one, these are all Flavio Kuma designs. This is a McLaughlin design, and this is an Ox design. This one right here is a Kit Carson design. The M16 is a Kit Carson design. Oh man, this knife is awesome. It's awesome. Absolutely awesome. I'm in love. I love it. I love that blade. That's one of the coolest Tonto blades I've seen in a while. It's heavy duty too. It's not a weak, wimpy blade. It's a proper American Tonto. Absolutely love it. I'm gonna carry this one to work. I will carry. That's what I do. Even when when I get bigger knives I really like, I can't help it. I carry them everywhere. I just like them. Bigger knives are my favorite. Even though I've been trying to get into smaller knives and stuff like that because of all the different laws and way things are around where I live, and I'm not one to try to get in trouble with the law or trying to prove a point or anything like that. Argue with the police or whatever, I'm not that type. If a policeman says to me that, I can't have that knife and he wants to confiscate it, I'll give it to him. I got lots of knives. It's not worth, arguing about or getting put in cuffs and taken to jail or whatever. It's not worth all that. It's easy to go get another knife. It's a lot cheaper than, having to get bail and everything in. So, the thing is, don't carry a knife that's too expensive. If that might be possible, if that might be a possibility, of a thing that might happen to you, don't carry something that might be too expensive. That's why I never try to carry things over $200 because if it cost something over $200 and somebody, you know, got confiscated, I'd be a little upset. But you know, it'd be on me though because I know better. A lot of times when they see people on motorcycles and stuff like that, they pull people over just because they want to. I don't know if they want to just look at your motorcycle or if they think that you might be into something and they want to check you out or whatever, you know. But that's part of being who I am. So I try not to carry something that if it gets confiscated, I'll be upset. That's just me. So that's one reason why you guys don't see me buying like $300 or $400 knives because I'm not gonna carry a $300 or $400 knife. I'd be pissed if that got confiscated. So I'm not carrying that. $200 is like my limit. This one is a beautiful knife. I love it. It almost feels like I should be able to shake it closed. Let's see. We're going to try to shake it closed. Here we go. Whoa. Did you see that? Whoa. Let me see if I can do that again. Whoa. You can shake it closed. An assistant knife you can shake closed. Whoa. It wasn't doing that before. It's only doing it now that I lubed it. Whoa. You have to shake it hard though. I'm not shaking it light. I'm shaking it pretty hard. And I know how to, you know, to wrist flick things. So I don't know if the person that doesn't know how to wrist flick things will not be able to do that. But those of you that do, you can shake this closed. I've never seen an assistant knife that you can shake closed before. I've never owned one anyway. Whoa. One thing though, if it doesn't shake closed, it shoots back out. I love it. Just like that. Whoa, that's cool. I love this knife. I'm sorry, people. And this spring looks strong too. Doesn't look like a weak spring. But I bet you if you do stuff like shaking it closed and stuff like that, that's going to stress out that spring eventually. So I don't know if I'd be doing that all the time. It's just nice to know that you can do it. I'm gonna close it. I'm gonna close it this way because I don't want to stress out the spring. I want to keep it being strong and fast. This works nice. This is a nice knife. This knife is nice, and it's solid. There's no movement at all. It's like a fixed blade, and it's a deadbolt. I don't know, people. I'm in love. Absolutely love this knife. Absolutely love it. Absolutely, it's going to become one of my favorites. I can tell you that already. It's already become one of my favorites. I'm digging it already. You know, it's like right up my alley, the type of knives I like. This is right up my alley. Absolutely love it. The M16-04DB Deadbolt, 4-inch Deadbolt. I absolutely love it. I sort of want to try out the smaller spear point. I think it's like a 3.6-inch blade or 3.7-inch or something like that. It's like a medium-sized knife. And I sort of want to try that one out too. So you guys might see me get that one next. It might be the next new deadbolt I get. And the other one that they have a smaller version of this one. I don't really need that one. I'm not interested in that one. If I'm going to get a smaller version, I'd rather get the knife blade that I don't have, which is the spear point. The spear point looks like a stiletto blade. Looks more like a stiletto. That's one reason why I got to get it. You know me. It looks like a tactical stiletto. And so I got to try that one out. I absolutely love this one. Absolutely love it, people. Absolutely love it. Let me zoom in so you guys get a better look at these. Absolutely love it. I think this is one of the coolest CRKTs I've seen in a long time. You know, next to the Clever Girl and the Seismic and the Linchpin. I like all those too. But this one's different because it's assisted. So that makes it kind of cool to me, you know, because I have the other ones that are manual. So a lot of people that don't have the other ones that are manual, they want this one to be manual too. I can totally understand that. I think CRKT ought to make one of these in manual. That'd be my advice to CRKT, so they don't miss out on all the customers that want manual knives. But then again, if they would have made one of these manual and have the assisted as an option, I would have never gotten the assisted one. I've never experienced how cool this one is, because I would have just went for the manual. So maybe that's a marketing point. Maybe they did that on purpose. I don't know. But this one is really nice, and it's legal. It's legal. It's legal. I can carry this. It's legal. Legal in California. Assisted knives are legal in California. Absolutely love it. But that's it. Peace out. I don't know how long I went way too long. Peace out, people. Have a good one. Stiletto.